Zara pressed her webbed hands against the cold metal of the observation deck, watching the stars through the massive viewport. Her silver skin caught the light from distant suns, creating patterns that shifted like liquid mercury across her tall, elegant frame. As the chief science officer of the Kethran Defense Fleet, she had studied countless species across the galaxy, but none had filled her with such dread as the humans. The emergency council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Zara entered. Her people, the Kethrans, were a proud warrior race who had conquered 12 star systems through superior technology and strategic thinking. Their blue-tinted eyes reflected intelligence that had evolved over millions of years, and their society valued logic above all else. Commander Vex, a massive Kethran with battle scars covering his arms, stood at the center of the holographic display. The three-dimensional map showed their current position near the edge of human space. "The humans have been expanding rapidly," Vex announced, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had never lost a battle. "Our scouts report they have primitive weapons and outdated ships. We could easily claim their systems within a standard rotation." Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. The other officers nodded, already calculating the resources they would gain from human worlds. Zara stepped forward, her heart racing with the weight of what she had discovered. "Commander, I must speak against this action. The humans are not what they appear to be." The room fell silent. Questioning a superior officer was rare among Kethrans, but Zara's reputation as their best scientist gave her words weight. "Explain yourself," Vex said, his eyes narrowing. Zara activated her personal data pad, projecting her research into the holographic display. Images of human conflicts filled the air around them. Battles from their world wars, footage of humans fighting in impossible conditions, records of their survival against overwhelming odds. "I have studied their history for 3 cycles, she began, her voice steady despite her fear. "Humans are the only species I have encountered that actively seeks conflict with superior forces. They do not retreat when facing certain death. Instead, they become more dangerous." The other officers exchanged glances, some chuckling at what they perceived as weakness in Zara's assessment. "Look at their military doctrine," she continued, highlighting specific battles. "When faced with an enemy that outnumbers them 10-1, they do not surrender. They create new weapons, new strategies, new ways to turn their disadvantages into strengths. They have a concept they call holding the line, standing firm against impossible odds not because they can win, but because retreat is unthinkable." Commander Vex studied the data with growing interest. "These are just records of primitive conflicts among their own kind. How does this relate to us?" Zara manipulated the display to show more recent intelligence. 6 months ago, the Zalari Empire attempted to conquer a human colony world called New Boston. The Zalari had superior numbers, better weapons, and complete orbital control. The battle should have lasted hours. The hologram showed the aftermath, a Zalari fleet in retreat. Their ships damaged and their forces scattered. "The humans fought for 18 days with no hope of victory," Zara explained. "They used tactics no civilized species would consider. Hiding in urban ruins, targeting supply lines, turning their own infrastructure into weapons. When the Zalari finally retreated, they had lost 60% of their forces to an enemy they had dismissed as primitive." The chamber remained quiet as the officers processed this information. "But that is just one example," another officer argued. "Surely our technology—" "The hegemony of Rax thought the same thing," Zara interrupted, bringing up another set of files. "They were a species with technology centuries ahead of humans. 3 standard cycles ago, they decided to claim human space for resources. Today, the hegemony no longer exists." Shocked whispers filled the chamber. The hegemony had been known throughout the galaxy as an advanced civilization. Zara continued her presentation, showing intelligence reports she had gathered through careful investigation. "Humans have a biological response to extreme stress that actually improves their physical and mental capabilities. They call it adrenaline. When facing death, they become faster, stronger, and more creative than normal. Most species become paralyzed by fear. Humans become more deadly." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in before delivering her final warning. "Commander, I have found records of 17 different species that have attempted to conquer or eliminate humanity in the past century. 17 civilizations that believed humans were weak prey. None of those species exist today." The holographic display now showed a map of human space, highlighting the territories that had once belonged to extinct civilizations. They do not just defeat their enemies, Zara said quietly. They study them, learn from them, and absorb their technology. Every species that has threatened humanity has made them stronger. I believe this is why they appear primitive. They are constantly evolving, constantly adapting to new threats. Commander Vex leaned back in his chair, his expression troubled. You are suggesting we abandon our expansion plans because of fear? I am suggesting we survive, Zara replied firmly. Every piece of evidence I have studied points to the same conclusion. Humanity cannot be conquered by conventional means. They treat impossible odds as normal circumstances. They view extinction-level threats as challenges to overcome. She brought up one final piece of data: communications intercepts from human military networks. 3 days ago, their deep space sensors detected our scout ships. Do you know what their military commanders said when they learned a new alien species was approaching their territory? The room waited in tense silence. They said, finally, someone interesting to fight. The implications of this statement sent chills through the assembled officers. Any rational species would respond to unknown aliens with caution or attempts at communication. Only humans would view first contact as an opportunity for combat. I have spent my career studying the galaxy's most dangerous predators, Zara concluded. Humans are not the strongest or fastest or most technologically advanced species, but they are the only one that enjoys being outnumbered. They are the only one that fights harder when losing. They are the only species that considers suicide attacks a valid tactical option. Commander Vex stood slowly, processing everything he had heard. What do you recommend? We change course immediately, Zara said without hesitation. We find another direction for expansion, far from human space, and we pray to whatever gods you believe in that they never decide we are a threat worth eliminating. The vote was close, but ultimately the council agreed to alter their expansion route. As the fleet began changing course, Zara remained in the observation deck, watching human space disappear behind them. 2 weeks later, long-range sensors detected something that made Zara's blood freeze. A single human ship had entered their territory, moving directly toward their fleet. It was small, clearly designed for speed rather than combat, and completely alone. Zara rushed to the command center where Commander Vex was studying the incoming vessel. One ship, he said thoughtfully. Perhaps they wish to negotiate. Commander, Zara said urgently, you don't understand. Humans don't send negotiators alone into unknown space. They send. The communications array crackled to life and a human voice filled the command center. It belonged to a young female speaking in clear, confident tones. This is Captain Lisa Morgan of the Earth vessel Wanderer. I represent the Terran Colonial Alliance. We detected your fleet near our borders and wanted to introduce ourselves properly. Commander Vex glanced at Zara, then activated the response channel. This is Commander Vex of the Kethran Defense Fleet. We mean no harm to your people. That's wonderful to hear, Lisa replied cheerfully. We'd like to invite your leadership aboard for a cultural exchange. Just a friendly meeting between neighbors. Zara felt her heart racing as she recognized what was happening. This wasn't diplomacy, this was reconnaissance. The humans had sent a single ship to evaluate their potential enemy up close. Commander, she whispered urgently, this is exactly what they did to the hegemony. They sent one ship to talk, gathered intelligence, and then, we would be honored to meet with you, Vex replied, cutting off Zara's warning. As the human ship approached their flagship, Zara watched through the viewports. The vessel was indeed small compared to their massive warships, but something about its design made her uneasy. Every line of the ship suggested speed and efficiency, built by a species that expected to fight against superior forces. Captain Lisa Morgan came aboard with a small escort, and Zara was struck by how unremarkable the humans appeared. Lisa was average height with brown hair and friendly blue eyes. She wore a simple military uniform and carried herself with the confident bearing of someone accustomed to command. Her escort consisted of 2 other humans, a tall male named Captain Ryan Clark and a female engineer called Lieutenant Amy Chen. During the formal meeting, Lisa asked detailed questions about Kethran technology, culture, and military capabilities. She presented herself as merely curious about their civilization, but Zara recognized the systematic intelligence gathering beneath the friendly conversation. Your ships are impressive, Lisa commented.